All right, y'all, give me just a second and we'll get going. I'm happy to be the only one speaking up here, but if you guys want to join, feel free to hit that request button. I haven't even tweeted this out yet, so shout out to all of y'all who are jumping in here before I even have a tweet going. That is amazing because I literally was just sitting in the office chair back at the house, and I was like, haven't done a space yet today. Need to do the space. Why not just kick it up now? 2023 is all about doing, not just thinking about things, but actually taking the action and following through. So, when that type of stuff pops up, I don't know. I just do. I don't think about it anymore. And there was a time, I will say this, like back in the day, there was definitely a time where hosting spaces in general, I would say was just a tiny bit intimidating occasionally. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but before you'd start one up, you'd sit there and think like, "Oh, what am I going to talk about?" Now, the best thing that ever happened to me, kind of like this stage of enlightenment, was realizing that I didn't have to have anything to talk about, like because I can literally just talk about anything. So it's amazing, not necessarily having something to talk about because you have freedom in the outline how you're going through whatever. So. Um, I've got one request. I will bring you up. I'll give you a chance before I get this going, before I actually tweet this out. Again, shout out to y'all if you guys are actually in here right now. Um, El Diablo, what's going on? Welcome up. How are you doing?
Hey, Calio. Hi, first time here. I just wanted to say hi. And I think you're doing a great job since you're saying that at first it was difficult to do this. I think you're awesome. And yeah, how was today? I saw you were going today for Young Life Club to be the
Yeah,
leader.
man.
So tell us about it if you want to. I mean, I know it's a personal
Yeah,
thing, but yeah,
no,
we'd
dude.
love to hear about that.
It was good, man. So, here's the thing. I led for Young Life for like nearly 5 years, and then I quit around the time COVID hit. And I think it was just a combination of it was really difficult to do any type of like ministry or work, with the kids back then during COVID. And also, I was going through a really rough stretch myself, which, if you've listened to any of my background story, you kind of are familiar with that. But so ended up just like whenever you quit doing something where you're serving and taking time away from your schedule for somebody else, it gets really easy to fall in the habit of doing nothing. Um, so I just got used to being lazy, basically got used to being selfish with my time. And I just became content with that. And I think in the process of being content with that, the Kaleo brand kind of blew up as well. And I just became obsessed with this pursuit of whether you want to call it fame, money, whatever the heck it is. And in the process, I feel like I lost a few things that really, I value and that are important to me. And one of those is just service, right? Where I feel like in life as you get older, it's easy to make excuses not to serve and not to do things for other people, right? Like you're always going to have excuses. And I don't have kids, I don't have, a wife or anything like that to look at and say, oh, well, at least yeah, I've got to serve them. I have to take care of them. I need time for them. I don't even have that excuse right now. So I thought to myself, like, if I am not serving right now when I don't have these excuses, like, what is my life going to look like later on when I do? Am I ever going to reach this point where everything is just so easy that, you know, going out and doing something for others is the most probable and best answer? And I thought about it, and the answer was no, right? Like, you know, in life, you're always going to be able to say no, but the thing is, the excuses are always going to pile up. So it just basically clicked. If not now, then when? So that kind of clicked to me a few weeks ago. If I don't go out and start doing this again now, I'll never do it. And it's important to me, even though it does take a lot of time investing into relationships to be able to disciple, mentor, younger kids. Like, this high school age kids aren't easy to connect with, man. Like, if you're a boomer and you're trying to do whatever, like you're never going to be cool. So you just have to like be yourself. It's similar to being on a space, right? Like just getting up on stage, making connections with people, it translates over really well. So yeah, man, it just kind of clicked to me that I needed to be about more than just myself, right? Like to me, no matter what I build here in this space, no matter what I build outside of it, it means nothing if I am not serving a greater purpose, right? So that was kind of what clicked, man. Like I know it won't be easy, but I know it's something that's going to bring me joy that's a lot greater than like anything that I can get just by checking another number off the box or getting another follower milestone or something else. Like none of that means anything if I am not pursuing glorifying the Lord in the process. And like that's just my faith, my belief. And I believe everybody, if you've got a belief and conviction in something, you have to live it out, right? You can't sit there and talk about it. Like you've got to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. You're a great example. I've been following you for maybe a couple of years since no, maybe more than a year since 2021, I think. And I've seen these phases of you going through all of this, and I think it's amazing. It's an example to all of us more than the crypto stuff or the NFTs, which are great. But yeah, going outside and helping people, I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I want to thank you for that.
Appreciate it, man. And hey, like honestly, that's why I share that stuff in a little tweet because my whole thing is, it's not to get any type of, oh man, like Caleo's a good guy going out and like leading, doing this. I believe that when you're in a position of leadership and you're in a position of having influence, that what better way to influence people than to inspire them to do something more than just for themselves, right? So like I think it's good to be able to take a break from that occasionally and just say, hey, there's more to life outside of what we all gather around and talk about here on the screen every day. And I truly do believe, man, and I think that's one thing that if you talk about my ups, downs, everything in between of how I've been able to deal with volatility as far as the status of current situations in my life, I believe there is a greater purpose behind all of it. And again, if you're not out there striving for that, then like for me, it's all meaningless. So yeah, that's kind of the base story for it. But it does mean a lot hearing from somebody like you, that I've never even talked to before, that type of stuff means something. So I appreciate that, Diablo.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna step down. Keep staying here as listener, and have a great night.
10-4, man. You take it easy yourself.
Kaleo, man, you ever see yourself having kids?
Yeah, no, definitely one day. Who knows when that is, but definitely um, would want to eventually.
I hear you.
What about you, man? Do you have any? Like, I've never even asked you
No,
before.
I'm 23. I'm 24 in March, so not on the radar at the moment.
Well, I mean, hey, there are plenty of 23 and 24-year-olds that I know that have like there's some parts of the world that's late.
Yeah, definitely. I wanna get real set up good, get a nice house, and then, but everything doesn't always go to plan.
I
We'll
feel
see.
you, man. BTC Art, welcome up to the stage. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, I love how this started. Well, I don't know if it just started, but I hopped in and they were talking about, giving, giving back. There's something in my line of work I love to talk to people about. Like, it's fascinating the wealth of the poor, right? Is community, and the poverty of the rich is isolation. And the more we find ourselves like building up these bags, if you will, or growing in status, we build bigger houses behind bigger gates and get lonelier and lonelier. But there's something that across culture matters more than anything else, and that's community, that's relationships, that's giving back, that's doing what you're talking about, like on in whatever level you do it. And everyone needs to understand, like, your life will not have purpose or meaning if you have isolated yourself because you finally made it. Like, that's not the end game. That's not a wealthy man, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
a wealthy man, like the poor understand, right? They have each other, and I think that's a weird correlation, stupid correlation maybe, but philosophically in the bear market, we kind of see this. Like, people have got rugged, people that have like lost it all, everything else, and they just understand this huge wealth of community that they're finding right now. And I think it's insanely beautiful. I don't know how this Web3 thing connects to how we're all connected, but it deeply is the reality of so much of our lives. And all of the same philosophical principles apply. And I don't know, it's like when everyone's poor right now, we're finding so much wealth in community and leaning toward community because we know that that's how we can help one another, and we can help uh yeah, and not just here but also in real life, mentoring kids, doing whatever else it is, that that you do in your life. I'm not trying to give you flowers. I'm just trying to say to everybody, and really talking to myself, like, let's not forget like how wealthy we are in a terrible market to have the community that we have. It matters. And let's not forget, whenever the bull comes, that this is really what matters, is that we've got each other, right? Peace.
No, and I appreciate that sentiment, man. I mean, there's something that a line I really like, or a verse, I should say, like basically, what does it mean if you gain the whole world but lose your soul in the process? It means nothing, right? And I feel like there's so many people in this pursuit of wealth and this pursuit for power that they lose their true identity and they lose what their real purpose is. So they lose family, friends, relationships along the way. And at the end of the day, wealth without anybody to share it with and without being able to make any greater impact with it is worthless. If nothing else, it's just bondage. It's chains that weighs you down. And I can say this from experiencing both really high highs and really low lows over the past several years, where it's easy to look back and there are times where after you lose everything and you're just sitting there and you're like, well, what do I have left at this point? You almost feel freer than you do whenever you have this huge sum of wealth that you're sitting there saying, well, what am I supposed to do with all of this? And there's something about greed that's consuming and isolating in the process. And I think that as, again, the joke is only somebody wealthy would say this, but like I right now, I'll say this, like, relatively, I am not wealthy. Like I've had times over the past several years where I have been wealthy, but I'm not right now, right? Like, and like, is there a good chance I will be again? I mean, hey, I'm going to work my ass off, and if that's a byproduct of it, then it happens. Right? But at the same time, I am grateful for every reset that I've ever had, because I feel like there is purpose in that reset, because every time it has woken me up to realize that, okay, as I have chased after these other things, I've lost other parts of myself. So again, man, I think it all goes back to what is the greater purpose beyond all of this. And again, like, dude, that's my thing. Even with like the stonks and being able to go through and uh, build something with this. It's like, dude, that's the same way I want this community to be built, right? And I think that we've already seen examples of this. There are a lot of people that are selfless in the process of going through, their collections, where you've seen people just selflessly give away or pick things up and return them to people where they didn't have to. And I think that it is something that is incredibly special. And when you're talking about reasons why I'm really bullish on this community and bullish on where things are heading, I think that it's because that approach is transcendent compared to so many other communities that it's constantly about what is the next thing that we're going to do to pump the floor, right? Where it is very short sighted, very selfish, very greedy along the way. I would rather have, a community with a shared vision that values both, the project itself, but also each other in that process than I would, have a higher floor price immediately and have people that's all they care about, right? Because if that's what you have and that's what you're focused on, it usually doesn't lead to lasting success.
Yeah, and I don't want to occupy too much time, but man, how huge. Like if we really hold on to this, like if people really get it, right? That community is ultimately the thing, regardless of the ups and downs. And that's the most bullish thing that we could ever have. And I'll speak for myself, but I know that there's so many people, especially in Wonky Stonks, that have experienced it, and that's why the conviction is so high. In my personal line of work, it's amazing. Come holiday season, I've never had someone who was poor or who was struggling um, call me at Christmas time, but I've had many people around Christmas or Thanksgiving or holidays who lived in mansions behind gates that had a gun in their mouth. And that's just real. They've become so isolated because they have forgotten about all of the things that really matter in their pursuit of this thing, that they've isolated themselves to the point where they're believing things that are so not even real, and they're so disconnected from reality, which is community, which is people, which is mutual suffering, which is mutual joy, which is mutual gratitude, which is love and light, that they're completely lost because they don't have community. And one of the most insane things is there's a global, like, philosophically, it blows my mind to look at Wonky Stonks and say there's a global community of people that are supporting, caring, legitimately helping, walking people through. Uh, it's a it's a phenomenon. We're on. It's early, right? But it's almost even more beautiful with screen names, because people are willing to be more vulnerable, even, right? I don't know if you've seen that, but I've seen it a lot. Like where you don't even have to be face to face. You can be even more vulnerable, more open, more available to ask for help from community, in the right community. Uh, to have that tackiness and that grip on what really matters, and not all of the Lambo, LFG stuff, which is so fun. But I'll stop now and just say, like, that really is the key. Community, 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 man. I mean, if we don't have that, if we're not giving more than we take away at the end of this life, then what the heck are we here for? Peace.
I mean, that's exactly it, man. And I'm telling you that's even the approach with the stonks to begin with, where like I'm not going to name names, but I've seen several people that had projects that I only want to say have failed because they let them fail. They abandoned them because the floor price didn't do what they wanted immediately. And after that, like, I've seen several of those people that actually very recently have come up and tried to release new projects and, asking people, hey, who wants on my whitelist and stuff like that. And it just, it's disheartening, man, because why would somebody want to trust somebody who's failed like that and abandoned something and give them another chance? But people will anyway. They have short-term memories. But with the stocks, it's something that's been incredibly important to me from the beginning, even though it was, mostly a free mint, where it's something where if I release something, I don't think it's right to even think about doing something else unless, you prove that whatever vision that you had initially has life and that you make it into something successful. And even when others see it as something that's not successful, because there was a period of time, I mean, a long period, right, where, you were there, BTC, you were there, Nick, where we're grinding underneath point 0.1 ETH for a long time and don't really get much recognition or flowers or anything else. And, a lot of people just ignoring the idea of the project. And throughout that process, like, it would have been way easier to just quit and walk away and, do what some of these other people are doing, where they're like, oh, hey, it's been about a year and a half. Like, let's release something new. But I don't think that's right. And I don't think that ethos is something that will take them very far or make their next project or the next pursuit of something they do any different or any more successful. So that's my thing with the stonks at the end of the day, right? Like, why, as I'm sitting here and saying, and as you've heard in these spaces for the past month, for a lot of the people that are new here, why I say the stonks are inevitable are because, like, I truly do believe, like, my passion, my pursuit toward this, as long as I'm in this game, the crypto game, like, this is it. Like, I am going to work toward making sure that this is something that's successful and that is something that's inevitable and becomes something more. And, there are people that if you don't give them whatever returns overnight, like, they're going to leave, right? Where if it takes longer than a week, boom, cut your losses, you're out. And it's okay. Like, those aren't the type of people that I want, involved in a project. Like, why I honestly enjoy after a massive return like we had recently from that 0.06 area up to, 0.3 plus, where we've maintained basically for a month since now. I enjoy actually chilling here for a longer period of time before breaking above the new all-time high, because I think it really establishes just a solid core base of people that believe, right, that have that shared vision of something that's longer than just the next pump over the next couple of weeks, that
Yes.
actually share the same vision that I do, that, see that, okay, like when Kaleo says he is not leaving this space, he's been here for, nearly 6 years now. And he's had this project for a couple, and through thick and thin, like, hasn't abandoned it. Like, he's not going to leave it behind whenever it's already higher than it was for the first year plus. Like, so, that's my whole thing, man. It's just patience through a process, I think, makes the end result a lot more beautiful.
And it's really been fun to watch, because you could have came in from day one and just exploited the network, said, okay, we're going to do 0.33, we'll mint out, and then I'll kind of just back shoulder it. But from day one, you decided to go free mint, preached organic growth. And then even when, like you were talking about, when things were kind of quiet, never went away, was still there.
No, I appreciate that, Nick. But I mean, again, all of it goes back to just a bunch of the people like y'all that stuck around throughout that process as well, right? Where, and that's one of the things that a lot of people just fail to recognize too, is just that everything about this game, it's a team effort one way or the other. It's not just whoever leads a project or, anybody who has official titles within something, it's the core collective and kind of the pulse of the community as a whole. And people talk about, I feel like the word community is almost overplayed, but it is something that's incredibly important, because the mindset of the people that are collectors, right? Because I really do view this as art. And I think that it's funny, Hondo actually shared with me a Jack Butcher tweet earlier where he was talking, for him, it was all about the art. And I feel like that meta has become more and more popular over the course of the past couple months. But it really just wasn't something that many people were bold enough to branch out and pursue outside of the realm of art blocks for a long period of time. And, for me, even the pudgies, right? Like, I respect the IP play and everything that they're pushing for there, but like, anything with a pudgy, do you collect it for the IP personally? No, like, I don't think that the IP money would be life changing money. Maybe if anything, it would be better brand recognition for the art, by getting it in more stores, more places. But if anything, for me, the value really does go back to the art and the community. The people that hold it and actually appreciate whatever the project is for the art and for the history and for the story and for the collective mentality and the approach, more so than, hey, what exactly can I do with this? And I make the comparison all the time to traditional collectors. Nobody is sitting there asking for a traditional artist that gives them a canvas with their painting. Okay, well, what's the utility with this? What's the next like play? How can I take this piece of art and use it in a game coming up? Like, can I take it off the wall and plug it in? Like, is there something, some credit that I get for this? Are you going to do the legwork of getting this out there? And, can I make some royalties by potentially letting people take a picture and, getting it out there on the internet? Are you going to do that for me? No, they do it because it's something that they appreciate the intrinsic value of, whatever it means to them at that period of time. And there are a lot of people that say, well, oh, all because NFTs are physical pieces, that means that the same principles can't carry over. And I completely beg to differ, because the amount of time that so many people spend online these days, I think, exceeds the average amount of time that the average person that is collecting at this period will actually go around and look at a wall and look at that beautiful piece on the wall. They're looking at their wallets and they're looking at ways that they can flex this digitally, because they're spending more time doing that, and it can reach a greater population of people for that flex than they ever would be able to reach by just having the physical piece. So I think that there really is something transcendent about the idea of collecting NFTs as art itself. And that's really the vision that goes behind the Stonks and why they were based on art and art alone going into it, and why that's the meta that I truly believe is going to be the one that stands the test of time. And, I've preached it, but I'll preach it time and time again. There will be better tech that comes out. There will be better companies that approach the way that the utility behind the big events and the parties that need some source of revenue to continue. And you've got to think about that. If you're in a project that, like, they're just touting these big projects or these big parties and other things, like, they've got to have some source of revenue to be able to keep that going, right? Like, to be able to make that something that is a profitable pursuit over the years. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, but it is something that can become difficult to continue at certain levels, especially as competition begins to creep onto the scene. Whereas actual history and actual appreciation for art itself is transcendent.
1,000%. Art is art. It doesn't have to have utility. It's art.
Exactly, man. Dude, so I haven't had the chance to. I've been super busy with a bunch of random stuff today. Will be tomorrow as well. But I looked, saw that, like, the Stonks dipped beneath 0.3 for like a second, I think, and then I came back from club and they were already back above that level. Dude, all I'm gonna say is the Stonks will not be underneath the all-time high after BTC rips above this range. Like, it's not going to happen. So as much as I appreciate, there's some things. Let's see. There's still the stolen Stonks that are available right now on what's it called, X2Y2, and that's basically it beneath there. So yeah, it's one of those things again. Like, I mean, hey, I completely understand the pursuit of doing whatever, but like I may be biased here, and I may be carrying information. Like, there's a good chance that the stocks will not be underneath the 0.4 level after BTC rips out of this range. Like, there's just a good chance. That's all I'm going to say.
Guys, you heard it here first. If you think Bitcoin's going to 30K and you want to front run Kaleo, go buy some stonks.
So we'll see.
It is nice to see, though, when we dip a little bit and it just gets eaten up.
No, yeah, no, 100%. So I love to see it. And even like, I've had a chance to be incredibly active over the past couple of days. And dude, I mean, still just seeing like how everything basically just runs like a well-oiled machine by itself. I mean, dude, that's amazing to watch. So Nick, we got Crayola requesting to come up on stage. Mr. Crayola, what is going on? The man, the myth, the legend from North Carolina. The Tar Heels bleed blue alum on the stage. Welcome up, my man. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up. 30 minutes left in my shift, and part of which I was just talking about with Bitcoin going to 30K. And dude, I got to tell you, man, like, been in like, for me, I've only really been in crypto and stuff since 2020, but thinking back on previous emotions and previous times, like being in this market for a long time molds you and makes you better and helps you control your emotions a little bit better. And I think that's the cool part I'm getting to see now is that, if you remain persistent, they start to go your way. There's less greed and you're smarter about different plays that you make. And I hope this time I actually start selling some, because I held this whole time. But I think in my mind it was more of a, hey, I'm willing to accumulate for 3 to 4 years, and sadly the market humbled me and forced me to do that anyway. So I'm hoping on this next ride up, I'll be smarter.
Well, I mean, that's all you can do, man. You can look at the past and you let it do one of two things. You can either let it stop you, or you can learn from it and actually take those lessons and improve. And I think it's that mentality of belief, but also you have to have recognition in the process of belief. You have to be able to see what those blind spots were and to be able to work through them. It's not going to be something that just corrects itself. It has to be something that you have to actively pursue as you continue forward.
Kaleo, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's something you're gonna do building up to these next through the bear, the mini bull, the bear, the next bull? What's one thing you're gonna do differently than you did before? That you just decided, like, all right, this is the one thing I will do that I did not do in order to step my game up to the next level.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think that a lot of it goes back to just not over trading. If you've got a position that you're confident in, just like being able to have patience and just sit back on it. I think that's a big part of it. So, but yeah, I mean, outside of that, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that another one that I really want to do that I need to just start, and I've talked about it for so long, I want to do more video content, more stuff like that too. I think it's a better way to connect with people. And that's something obviously that I can start right now. But as far as, the other type of stuff, I think that, the two biggest things are if they're friends that you really trust that have a track record, betting on them. And I think the other is, just patience. How about yourself, BTCR? What are you looking at?
Yeah, man, I've made some big ones, like don't invest in Celsius. That was one. Um, I mean, I thought it was safe, but that it's so funny to think that you would. It's so funny to think that as many precautions as I take and as many different wallets and anonymity whatever's, I really believed that it was the bank. I just for some reason it didn't click. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get 7.5%. Like this is, I'm out. I got it. It's gonna stay here for a couple of years, and then I'll start reallocating, and let's see how much more we can build. But I really believe that like I did not truly understand the difference between DeFi and I didn't understand the difference between what is centralized and what is truly decentralized. And it sounds foolish to say, but I'm humble enough to say it. I just didn't I didn't do it. And so that's one of the things that I'm certainly going to make sure that I don't do this time. That's probably sounds very basic to everybody else, but I think I was greedy. I think I was cocky. I think you know my bank wasn't going to give me more than 1.2% on my money, and here's this other bank that's going to give me 7.5%, and I'll just leave it there. Wait till the bull comes back. But really doing my research and being humble enough to ask people, not just doing my research, but asking people like what's your wisdom, et cetera, and being in good communities where I can trust their feedback. That's one of the things that I'm going to continue to do. Yeah, and I'm going to keep trusting your calls because I wouldn't have got there if I hadn't have listened to your calls in the first place. I just love it. I'm not trying to give you flowers. I'm just saying thank you for, yeah. I mean, I literally just rode your tail, bro. Um, like, just that sounded weird. Rode your Airstream, and it was really fantastic. So I'm gonna be really careful about the people that I follow in the next run, and yeah, the last thing is if I don't write it down, this is one hard thing I've made. If I'm not willing to write it down on paper, set the buy, set the exit, um I'm not doing it. So I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to miss some things that I think that's over trading, right? So I'm not gonna overtrade. That's basically what you said. But that's my commitment is if I'm not willing to put it on paper in my journal, I'm not gonna do it. And that's that's about it. And I'm gonna lean in much deeper to the people that I've gotten to know in real life through this and trust them and have a wealth of knowledge that is so much greater than the knowledge I had a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, because it's phenomenal. It's just astounding the collective wisdom in the spaces that we have now, having stuck around and built real community and come to find how each individual has their own niche, knows their own stuff. There's really nothing you can't figure out whenever you build that network. So keep building that network by being genuine, consistent, honest, vulnerable, all those things.
It's a
Long
diverse
answer.
group of people too. BT Cart, in terms of, and it's not like diversity in terms of race or religion. It's occupations. You got accountants, you got artists, traders, just people working a 9 to 5 that like crypto. Um, and then one thing you've kind of been
Doctors,
touching on.
student, lawyers.
Yeah, you got everyone. There's a good amount of lawyers. I need to find an accountant actually. Before
Future
April.
McDonald's workers.
Yeah,
Magna,
future McDonald's workers. Unfortunately, I don't think we're all gonna make it.
Magna CPA.
Yeah, I gotta hit up Magna for some tax advice on the NFTs and the cost basis there. But And then you also touched on it. Just be a sponge, man. Absorb as much as you can from all the people around you.
Keep talking, man.
I'm out of words. Let me get a few more beers in me, and I'll be able to talk a little more.
Yeah, shoot. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Kaleo? Just sitting here.
How did that test go?
It wasn't a test. It was just my first day. We were talking about I think we were talking about Bitcoin, right? We were talking about how my teacher was talking about crypto.
Yeah, I got you. No, I remember that you had something with the class, and I think I got mixed up with somebody else that had a test.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I have it again tomorrow. I'm sure he probably won't even go into it, but whatever. I'm just watching this Dogecoin chart, hoping for it to, still having that faith. Sitting here with my Doge dog, sleeping on me, and waiting for my bags to pump.
I mean, Doge, dude, I'm looking at the Doge chart, but I mean, I'm bullish on everything
Oh
right
yeah,
now. Doge is definitely going to break out of this. Let me look at Doge BTC, though. Well, who knows? Like, I'm looking at that, and I don't know. I mean, I personally am just sticking to trading BTC right here. But, hey, hopefully it's more fun when other things outperform. So best of luck. One way or the other, I think the USD price will go up if BTC goes
right.
up.
Listen, I'm not expecting for it to do a crazy run. I totally agree with you that Bitcoin's just going to lead the way. But when Bitcoin goes up, you'll see everything else goes up. You said it perfectly.
Doge is a fun coin because it brings in a lot of people who aren't in the space.
Yeah, it does.
Clay, were you ever a Link guy?
Link guy. You
Yeah,
mean
I know a lot of
Chainlink
the
God or?
2017 class are Link, not maxis, but made a good amount off Chainlink.
I had one really good run with Chainlink, or what I thought was pretty good that summer. So I had a little bit of fun whenever Chainlink was pumping. But the only issue with that is then the rest of the cycle, I was waiting for Chainlink to pump again, and it never did. So I was so convinced that Chainlink was going to hit under $100 plus. Felt like just one of the no brainers, and it never happened. And it definitely bit me in the ass later on.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I've given up, but I've been trying to play Link lately, and it doesn't do so well. Underperforms on the way up, and then goes back to $6, $6.50 on the way down.
Yo, hey, can the crowd hear me right now? I saw Crayola comment on the space, and he said he couldn't hear anything. So throw up some emojis if you can hear me. Throw up like anything right now if you're in the crowd and you can hear this. If not, then dang, like that's too bad. Anybody throw up emojis? Like, okay, good. We got a few. Thank you guys for
Khalil, we need
participating.
donut emojis, brother. We need donut emojis, brother.
Bro, I'm not in that. I do have some cheesy bread that I'm about to heat up as my late night snack. So incredibly healthy stuff. Believe it or not, you guys may not believe this, but without working out right now, you hear my diet. My diet's terrible. But one thing I am doing, I'm eating slightly less. And I've lost about like 5 pounds over the course of the past couple of weeks. Now, here's the funny thing. Actually, probably a month. Bogfather is going to come in here and he's going to think that the entire space, this is all that we were talking about, is just the food and whatever. Again, realistically, this has probably been one of the deepest spaces that we've had in a long time.
Khalil, man, don't worry, dude. You'll just get shredded, man. From the looks of it, man, you sound like you're 6'2", 220, 7% body fat, brother. You've got the voice of a Giga Chad, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I'm only 6'1", 215, but not super shredded yet. So I mean, you're close. But here's the thing: back in college, what I used to struggle with back in the day was I was so actually, believe it or not, man, I was like 6'1", 137 my senior year of high school. Not even joking.
How is that possible, dude? How is
I
that possible?
I was a cross country runner, and I just like I would eat a ton, but it didn't matter. My metabolism was just so fast that I just would, like I wouldn't put on weight. I put on a little bit in between cross country and track that year. Like I got into this thing where I just did, ab work and push ups every single day. And I got a little above 150 and I thought I was just ripped. But yeah, no, I mean, going back to the college thing, yeah, like I would work out every single day. And no matter what I did, like I was pretty strong for my weight, but I couldn't get above 175, 180. And my roommate back then, basically, he would make me eat so many freaking calories. I'd go to the cafeteria at the school, which was actually really good. They had a bunch of really good restaurants in there, and you could, as long as you paid your meal thing, you could eat whatever you wanted, as much of it. So we tracked it. There'd be a lot of meals where I would get like 5 to 10,000 calories, not even joking, throughout the course of it. And I still just could not put on weight. And he always told me, though, to really get big and to get chiseled, you have to start off with a little bit of excess fat on you to like make it work a little bit easier, at least. So I've got that now. I've got no excuse not to get there now. It's just a matter of doing it. But hey, we're in the do mentality this year. So you know what, King Wabi, like we're going to make that happen here in the next few months. We're going to manifest it.
You're just pre-gaming, man. You're just getting ready.
That's it.
I just saw Bog show up, man. He's gonna talk about the food.
Dude, I literally just got to New York. The first thing I did, I ordered a bacon, egg, and cheese and mozzarella sticks from my favorite diner.
Stonk, father. Say it, man. Forget about it. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Mozzarella.
Dude, yeah, no, it's really funny. Dude, I'm like 6'1", like 212. I was actually 250 at the beginning of last year when and then I'm like, oh shit, it's a bear market. I got to lose some weight. I got to hibernate a little bit. But I like yo-yo a lot. I mean, I know what I need to do and like how, but like I don't know, man, like I don't know how anyone else does it, but like if you're like trading a bunch or you're just like levered to the tits, it's like really hard to like go work out for 20 minutes, like, or focus on anything or leave the computer. So, and then I binge eat when I'm like really stressed the fuck out. So it does not help to, be in this space and try to be healthy. I mean, if it's bullish, like I think my weight is like dependent on like you could tell like what the market is doing based on my weight. It's a really good counter indicator.
Well, the funny thing about what you're saying that eventually I learned was something that's true. If I'm ever in a position where it's like I'm too stressed to eat or too stressed to work out, like I can't walk away from the screen for that long, I'm definitely overexposed and I need to cut back. So like that's kind of a rule of thumb. Like if you can't do that, if you can't sleep peacefully through the night, then yeah, you're not in a position that you need to be in.
That is straight facts right there. But
I'll say this, like legitimately, I would say my worst trading experiences all come from like, waking up, checking my phone and being like, oh shit, and like doing something on the mobile. Like 9 out of 10 times that when I make mistakes, that's probably the window that happens. So just a better rule of thumb not to like leave any positions open over the evening.
Yeah. Now, the only time I've ever woken up and like caught anything was I remember like I was like severely sleep deprived, and I think it was like December 21, and I had a huge position on like FTX or like Spell, and I was like long Spell, and it got listed on Coinbase, and I just woke up and I'm like, oh my god! Like I finally caught catching a Coinbase listing is like the best feeling ever. But every other time I was severely depressed and probably got wrecked, waking like having a huge position like rolling throughout the night, and going to bed like waking up. I know that feeling. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, definitely not fun. Don't recommend it to anybody. But yeah, like it's, I guess it's part of the game during it. So, Podfather, how are you doing today, though, man? You said you're in New York. Like I said, how's your mom doing after everything?
My mom's stubborn, man. She's like, hey, do you want me to make you something? I'm just like, you literally tore your rotator cuff. Like, what? Just sit down. Stop doing stuff. And she's like around the kitchen doing shit. I'm like, you have to stop. Like, this is the reason why I just flew here. Like, she's just a stubborn woman. I love her. She's my mom, and like, but she. It's very different. It's like, because I guess it's like she's used to, like, when I was a kid, I was an only child, so I was like, oh yeah, it's like a weird role reversal. Now it's like, yeah, you're getting older, I got to do shit for you. But yeah, it's just it's not the worst. I mean, I would think, thankfully, it's just something, it'll heal. But yeah, I mean, it's good to be in New York, though, to be, see some family and friends and stuff. But not much else going on, though. It's been like a slow couple of days, to be honest.
I gotta ask a crazy question. You're talking
Oh,
about
shoot.
taking care of your mom. Like, we get older, right? We become responsible for our folks, and they also think about our financial well-being. Does anyone else's mother ask them? Because my mother is a saint, of course, I think that. But she loves to ask me, how are your pictures doing? Are your pictures doing well? How are the pictures going? How are things going with your pictures? And I think it is the greatest thing ever. And she actually owns a Wonky, like, which I just think is insane and beautiful. But has anyone else had that experience where they're explaining it to their parents, and their parents, they just love you because they're your parents, and but they ask you all the time about how your whatever their phrasing is, or maybe how they explain it. I don't know. They're trying to connect, but like, does anyone else have that vibe?
No, I usually, real quick, I only get like when the market's going down. My mom's like, you better not have like any shit open right now. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you poor? Like, she'll just like, she's like, did you lose all your money again? Because, like, I mean, I obviously, yeah, I'm not gonna front. Like, in 2018, I round tripped a lot of money, and now she's just thinks I've lost all my money anytime she sees anything in the news. So it's real fun when the market goes down, and I have to convince my mom I'm not a pleb.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, Bog, I feel that because like back in 2020 when I was in my really rough spot, right? That like they just kept reaching out and they wanted to help, and no matter what happened back then, no matter how tight things were, it's like I was not going to ask or take any help. It's just not in me. And like it's not in me as long as I can do something myself, and it's something that I feel like is healthy to do myself. Obviously there are situations you need to go out, you do need help from people, but this wasn't one of them, right? Tight finances is what it was. But I swear, every day ever since then, every day ever, doesn't matter how much I've had, how much I don't have, like, or not every day, but just probably once every 2 or 3 months, my mom's like, hey, well, let me know, if you need help with anything, just let us know. And I'm like, okay, I do not need help, please, Lord. Like, just stop. Like, just stop asking that question. But it's cute. But it's like, okay, I don't think there's ever anything that I'll ever be able to do that will convince her to not ask that. And, it's become something that I find endearing, though, because I really, it does show how much they love me in the process. But it's funny you saying that about your mom because it's just like, it is the same story, bro.
Dude, it's even different. I have a different relationship with my uncles. Like, I got in like May 2017, and I was telling my uncles to buy Ethereum the whole year, and they finally bought literally at like 1,200. Um, and they round tripped like a quarter mil, and they just, to this day. And the thing is, I've like made them money after that, but like they will never let me down. Like talent, like, but they're the ones who pulled the trigger and bought Ethereum at that price and round tripped it, and then sold like the bottom. So like, and they still like blame me for that. So I've learned a lot of lessons. Do not tell anyone to get into crypto. Don't you're the the plus EV play is to not tell your family anything. Don't tell your friends about crypto. Just keep it to yourself. Don't get anyone in. Just tell everyone it's a scam, and it's don't try to start a fund. You're gonna lose money. Don't pretend that you're smart. You're probably not. Let's be honest. You're probably not that smart. There's because when you meet smart people, you're like fucking outclassed immediately. And there's a lot of giga brands in here, and you have to just know, like, hey, man, you could ride the coattails. You could be a barnacle on the left curve, right? You could be a little barnacle, and the whales are on the right curve. That's okay. You'll still make money. You just have to know where to be. But don't try and overthink it. But that's another useless rant.
I
I
got
mean, I
the
feel like
best. Oh, go.
I was just gonna say real quick. I feel like somebody else had to have just gotten hacked or something. I only say that because I looked at it. There were four stonks that just sold together as a bundle for 0.17 ETH,
Did he
which
make try to make it 1.7? And
they might have, dude. That
oh
might have been it
oh dude, why was
Fat
I not at the
finger.
computer?
because that was
Oh,
four. Yeah, it was four stonks lumped together. That I'm looking at it, and let's see. It was listed 43 minutes ago, and it sold within 2 or 3 minutes. But no, here's the deal. It was listed for 0.028 ETH 5 hours ago, but then immediately canceled.
that's
So,
just weird. I don't know.
yeah, so I have no idea, but I looked through that and I was like, oh, shoot, that is really weird. And also, I'd say be on the lookout for somebody just dropped a Miami Vice gradient on the floor. They took a WETH offer. I almost guarantee you it's by one of those NFT Initcom, which what is NFT Initcom, man? Like I've never known what that is. I see them on so many collections, basically as liquidity providers accepting the WETH offers. But are they a group? Well, anyway, they accepted it, which means guaranteed they're going to list it probably somewhere near the floor over the course of the next 12 hours. So that'd be something to be on the lookout for. Like flag that thing, look on the listings because that's probably going to be a steal whenever it's listed. Crayola, what's up, man?
Yo, question for y'all, and this is just I haven't maybe done my research or I just don't know and I just don't trust anything these days. But if you have an offer on your NFTs for like a WEEF offer, is it safe to like accept it?
Yes, it should be. Like I don't. If it's something that looks like it's way too good to be true, maybe be a little bit careful. But yeah, like a WETH offer on them, like you're going to be safe.
Okay, because I'm like, why does every one of mine have offers on them? And is that
Because
just
they're
like
people.
bots?
Well, yeah, Crayola, they're people. Well, either bots or I mean, heck, even people in the community, right? They'll just put out collection offers to where it is for either any item in the collection as a whole, or there's some people that will do them towards certain traits specifically. So that's something that just, happens across a collection. And there are a lot of people that they hate that type of stuff. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy being able to have some type of access to that. And it's way healthier than the counter. So, if anything else, those people, after they're resold, they just list them for cheaper than, what the initial person would have. And it works itself out in the end. But yeah, man, they're safe. I mean, you just have to from there go to like Uniswap or something and unwrap the ETH if you want to use it, unless you want to use the WEEF to counter offer on or bid on something.
Appreciate, man. I mean, because like even months ago on projects that were absolute rugs, I was still getting offers. I'm like, all right, this gotta be fake. They're about to drain my whole wallet. Like I'm not touching this.
Well, bro, here are a couple things that I would not trust. If you have like a Polygon NFT that's randomly dropped into your wallet, don't interact with that shit. Like, don't accept it. Don't try to transfer it, because those are things where they'll do something sneaky and it'll say last sale like 80 ETH or last sale 2 or 3 ETH on that item. And then you're like, oh, shoot, like that thing was sold for 2 or 3 ETH like how long ago? Then you click on it, you're like, oh, wait, there's an offer here, or there's something else. And that's where you run into some malicious stuff whenever you actually send that NFT out of your wallet. Like, then that's where you open up the door. But if it's something from a trusted collection and you're accepting a WETH offer on it, like, you're going to be good.
Also, if
I
you're
appreciate it. So I should not click on Kaleo's socks. It just got dropped like 30 minutes ago.
dude, if you want to like make sure too, because I've seen a
Got
lot
it.
of like
Appreciate
people are,
y'all. Not for real though. Like you talked about us all having different talents and just different things to help each other with, and that's what I love about just the Wonky Stock family is that there really is no stupid question, and if there is, it's because we're all friends and we've known each other long enough to make jokes and whatnot. But for anybody that's new on here, like come up, speak, make friendships, because that's what this is. And Kaleo's done a really good job of just making everybody feel welcome, and we've learned together, and we're gonna eat together. And I'm excited when it finally takes.
Well, Crayola, I realized I told you the wrong thing. So here's why. Like, I'm trying to create a community of diamond-handed people, and like I realize by just saying that, yeah, no WETH offers are safe, that'll add a lot more to the diamond hands. I'm just messing around. Bob, what were you going to say a little bit ago?
oh yeah, so if you're going through your collection and you want to even make sure like it's the legit collection, obviously there's a couple of ways, but if you just filter through the collections on the left hand side, there's a tab that has like you can select it and it'll only be the NFTs that are part of that collection. So if I'm like looking for pudgy penguins, I'll just click that just in case. And I always click on the individual thing too, just to see when I purchased it. And you know what I mean? Just because you never know if they're sending duplicates, or who knows like how intricate this shit is, right? So I always like take my time before I transfer or interact anything, just to make sure it's like this is the thing. And you don't want to ever like get caught sleeping, or you know what I mean, spending the extra couple of seconds like double checking things, having some attention to detail is like important, because the scams are only going to get better for over the next year or two. So you just gotta stay safe.
Yes, sir. Bog, hey, I do have a question for you. So hypothetically, would that, like, say BTC goes higher from here, and I'm not a dumbass, would the 10 ETH thing still be on the table?
I think it would be. Yeah, I just gotta move some stuff around, but let me know. Like, give me a little heads up.
I can do that. I can do that. I did say there's a decent chance that soon the area that we're in right now will not be safe, but we'll see.
Dude, I can't believe I traded a 70 feet picks for a wizard hat. Still,
Bro, that's okay. The day that you said that on the space, I remember, Bog, you were still slightly euphoric about those feet picks. I told you that was the greatest trade of all time. For you, you were like, I still don't know if it was the right thing to do. And I, like, at first I thought you were joking, but then I could hear it in your voice that you were being serious. And I was like, Bog, that is the smartest thing in the world. Give me a second. I'll buy 40 more feet picks and do the exact same thing right now if the person's dumb enough to do it again. Like,
yeah, I
that
don't
was
know.
probably the greatest trade of the year.
Yeah, I don't
For
know what
you.
happened to him, man. He was a little silent after that. Like, I mean, it was a really like a 50-50 kind of thing, because that thing could have went either way. Like, that thing could have just went to the moon after. So,
I couldn't believe it, because I would have taken a bigger discount on that. But then again, I guess you can look at it from two perspectives, right? Where he could say, well, the feet picks are, I guess, hypothetically kind of more liquid, but I don't even know if that's a great argument, because you could sell part of the bag, right? Where by the fact that it's more fractional, your liquidity is more fractional, you can exit out of whatever percentage, and if it kept running, then fine. But yeah, I don't know, man, dude, that was still legendary. I still can't believe that happened. I want to ask who it is, but I'm not going to, out of
That's
respect.
the guy in the Basho chat. I'm not gonna say who, but we don't talk about that anymore. We just don't bring that up. I mean, I like proceeded to dump all my tweet pics after the fact. I'm like, yeah, this is probably the
Hey, a
top.
question for y'all, kind of off topic. Has anybody like gone to the Arbitrum side yet?
A little bit, a tiny bit. I've moved some ETH over there and just bought some Doge shit coins on Arbitrum. I am interested in the small brains though.
Yeah, Arbinu, baby. Let's go. No, it's been cool.
Are you trying to say that we need to make the Stonks cross chain and bridge them over to Arbitrum, Crayola? Is that
absolutely, man? Fractionalizing.
You're saying that we need to partner with Layer Zero and get these on every chain possible?
Layer 0, but our bad's to 100. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, speaking of Layer Zero, I think the Pandas are about to announce a John Jones partnership.
The Pandas are the OG Layer Zero. I mean, I'll say this. Sorry to drop whatever. Probably, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day shit'll change, but probably never going to go Layer Zero. I just don't see the reason for it. I mean, if somebody really wants their stonks on another chain, D Huts has already proved you can do that by yourself without Layer Zero integration. So it
change that zero. Change that zero in the back of your name, man. Yeah. Change your name. Make it a 0 for Layer 0. Kaleo.
I mean, heck, like I don't know. The stonks may have been one of the first ETH NFTs bridged over. Thinking about like when he did it, I think that he bridged it over in January of 22.
That's a very sophisticated burn mechanism, my friend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But hey, that's kind of my thought process with Layer Zero. Also, if I'm being honest, what kind of scares me is when you have everything starting to scatter across a lot of chains, and you're talking about the collection itself. I just start to worry that more shit's going to get lost, and you're going to have more and more people complain about like doing some wonky transaction where they lose their stonk, and then you're like, well, I'm sorry, you don't really have a good answer for that. Like, what are you supposed to do? It's in the abyss.
That's why it's called Wonky Stonks, man. You just spilled it, man. You spilled the beans. Now I know. I'm watching out for you, man. I'm keeping all mine in you.
The biggest argument for Layer Zero too is like if a chain were to go dead. But if you were betting on which chain wouldn't go dead, you'd just stay on ETH.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is why the project started on ETH to begin with. Because I'm even telling you, man, like if I'm being honest, when I talked to the majority of people back when we first did the mint, because it was a free mint hybrid, whatever, and everybody's like, well, if you're going to do a free mint, then you don't want to do it on ETH. You want to do it on Sol because ETH is going to be too expensive with gas fees. People aren't going to want to do it, blah, blah, blah. And like, and nothing against Sol here, but I associate the majority of blue chips with ETH. I associate better permanency, better, reliability with ETH. And if you're talking about, and I really do think this comparison is valid, it's like if you have the freaking Mona Lisa, you're not going to put it in your back, your back storage shed in your backyard, right? Like it's not going to just sit out there in this thing that you like. Is it really going to protect it? Is it not? No, you're going to freaking protect that thing in the Louvre under lock and key with security guards. And like I see that as the comparison between a bunch of these different chains, where some of these chains, I mean, there's a chance. I'm just saying, like, there's some chains that NFTs are traded on, Tezos, that are ghost chains. That it's like, what the hell else is going on that? Why would anybody? And I get there's great art, right? Great art, great artists. I get that argument. But why, if you have great art, would you want to put it on like a shitty chain? It makes no sense other than there's this collective, I think, of JPEG investors that have invested X amount on these chains. So what do? They don't want their investment losing any type of value. And like, it is good art. You know, I'm not going to argue the art being good part of it, but they're going to try to bring other people to collect on it and say, hey, you know, like, this is where the real gems are. If you want to be a degen, you come over to Tezos. If you actually appreciate the finer things in life, be a Tezos OG. If you appreciate the finer things in life, buy my fucking bags. Like, that's what I hear whenever I see come over to Tezos. It makes no sense. So, anyway, all that rambling to be said, that's why the stocks are on ETH.
Dude, NFTs, baby. NFTs, man. Nah,
Dude,
that's
dude, yeah.
you know, like, let's go back to one of your points you said a while back, probably like last week. You'll never be able to do a free mint again. So, dude, in a way, I'm just super blessed, and it was cool to see how this has played out from start to finish up to this point, and to have the history that we have with the Stonks. Man, I'm just glad I got to be there day one, because the way in which it got dropped was a new paradigm for future projects. It worked for a little while, and then of course people took advantage of it. But to be a part of that group, to say that we were a part of that, like, that's cool, man. Because you're right, you're never going to be able to do some of the things we did last year ever again, and people are just going to have to come up with new cool ways to drop stuff now. But you can't really trust. The trust in this area now is way worse, and it's harder. It's hard to do anything original because nobody trusts you. But I don't know.
Well, I'll definitely say, I mean, I said this before, but I definitely mean it now. It would be way too dangerous to ever do any type of a stealth launch for anything ever again. You know, it worked out with the Stonks, but I think that after that, like, again, I've shared the vision for why we did it, and I think that it like was completely valid at the time. But I just think it's so dangerous now after having the collection being more established, being around for a while, to let anybody have any idea in their mind that, hey, you know, Kaleo did a stealth launch once, he could definitely do it again one day with, like, because if that happens and somehow, say, my account or the LedgArt Discord or something else gets compromised, well, now all of a sudden, this idea translates over to a security risk for the holders. So that's why I will publicly, transparently say any other LedgArt drop that ever happens will be announced well in advance, right? Like, it will never be in like, I warn people of this because if something's compromised, there's a good chance that I'm not able to get out there and say something immediately. So y'all need to be the voices in that case if it ever happens. Again, no stealth launch like that can ever happen again. So super special the way that it happened, because you're right, like, that definitely can't be replicated.
Hey, what about like Soulbound, like, for the OGs and for new people? We did like a Soulbound LedgArt thing.
Bro, but why? Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
Man.
Okay, here's the deal. I respect what the Pudgies are doing with Soulbounds, but I had this conversation the other day with the CTO when he was on the stage. I was like, hey, I respect what you guys are doing, and I understand that anybody can release it, but personally, I just don't really like.
We're connected, bro. Don't take this away from me.
Crayola,
come on now.
What is the purpose? You explain to me right now what the purpose and value of airdropping somebody a Soulbound token would be. Please, like, elaborate on that, and maybe I'll consider.
Nah, there's in my current state, there's zero reason to do it. I'm just messing with you, bro.
Now I'm a bit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Now, granted, my Sappy Seal, I did get a friggin' sweet Keyblade, and I love Kingdom Hearts, so I was all for that. But it's got to resonate with you, I feel like. And if there's no utility behind it, I mean, I guess a man's word is as good as that. And these spaces, you know, that you continue to do is kind of like that. You know, it's kind of like a soulbound brotherhood, and everybody's welcome. So Yeah, no reason to really do the air job. It's just funny that that's the narrative now. Everybody wants a soul bound for everything.
I have enough soul bounds. I don't know. I
Oh,
think I
bro,
have.
Soulbound's like a POAP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
they are essentially.
Right.
I mean, hopefully they do stuff for the
Hey,
pudgies.
El
If you,
Diablo, what's up? You got your hand up?
Wait, Crayola, do you not hear Bogfather talking?
Bro, I haven't heard him this whole time, man. And then I'm
Okay,
like,
leave. Hey, Crayola, here's what you need to do. Leave, because this happens. You got to leave the space, exit out of your app, come back on, then request again, and I'll bring you up, and you should be able to hear him.
I'm like, man, Kalev just knows everything Bob's saying, and you're just a
So,
visionary, bro. All right,
bro,
I'll
just
hop off.
trust me on this. Yeah, come off, come back on, exit out of the app, come back, and it'll reset everything for you. We'll see you in a minute.
Hey, I just
All
want
right,
to
Bob,
say,
what were you gonna
I,
say?
no, I was gonna say I wasn't talking yet, but yeah, I wanted to bring it back a bit. We were talking about Texas, and I got in that like a year ago, and yeah, it was bad as an investment, but the good thing I can say is I met a lot of artists and got to support them. Some of them were living out of it, and yeah, I made good friends and all that. But my bags went to zero, obviously. And also, I want to tell a short story, a sad story about me and the Wonky Stonks, because I mean I did not fade them, but I kind of actually did, because when you launched the Wonky Stonks, I didn't even have a MetaMask. I had never bought an NFT or minted. I didn't even bought anything on chain. I mean, I was only in exchanges. So I saw you were launching this, and it was like a free mint, but people were saying about the gas was very high on every collection, in every mint. But I said, oh, that sounds cool. I mean, a free mint, an NFT. It was like new for me, right? But yeah, I wasn't sure how to create a MetaMask wallet and all that, so I didn't get one. And then everything happened, and I don't know, kind of forgot a bit about him. I mean, still follow you and saw all your tweets and now your spaces and all that. But I don't know. I kind of stayed sidelined, as you say. And yeah, I just want to say to everyone listening, do not fade the Wonky Stonks. Okay, don't do as I did.
Diablo, my man, I appreciate that. It's fun hearing everybody's stories about how they were first exposed to the stocks, man. It's crazy. It's been since October of 21, but dude, there's so many stories of random people that hold a stock that I never would have guessed. But I'm telling you, on the CT side of things, like the number of holders that there are that are big accounts and even not big accounts, but just people that are ingrained in the CT culture. CT is one of those weird things where things have to reach certain price levels to flex. So I guarantee you, man, there are so many CT people that have these stonks that like it's almost like at certain tiers, there are certain levels that are unlocked in a video game. It's the exact same type thing with this, as far as who feels comfortable talking about it, who doesn't. I don't get it, man. I mean, there are a lot of people that, yeah, and, I guess I do kind of understand it, where there are people out there that, they're just hesitant to, yeah. Okay, here's the easiest way of saying it. There are a lot of people that will simp in your comments and try to engagement bait, and that'll interact and say that, they're bullish on whatever you're doing, but then you're out there and you're doing something, you're doing it every day, right? You're working toward it, and somehow yet they still fade it, right? Like the two don't add together. They don't work. They don't mesh. So I don't know, man. Point being, though, a lot of those people that are in that position right now, I guarantee you, there's certain price levels that stories and flexes unlock. So it'll happen eventually. It's just a matter of what we've been doing the past 15 months, continue to do it. Just show up, continue to grind, and things happen at the right time whenever they happen. No rush to get there.
Wait, I mean, at a certain level, like these are gonna get above an ETH, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh wow!" Like they'll just start talking about it, and it's just like with the Penguins, it was the same thing. They have to like whatever that threshold is. Once you get there, everyone starts talking about it. Um, it, and it's just like because everyone, I think it's the fact that there's so many things to do in this space, and everyone has like ADHD. So, when this is the leading horse in the race at any given time, then you get the fair weather people that come in, the bandwagoners, stock people, and are like, yeah, I minted this like 2 years ago. And it's like they never said anything. You know what I mean? They never showed up to a space, which is fine. But, they'll come out of the woodwork and just be like, pretend they're, like, yeah, like, I knew this was going to happen. And it's like they like literally like searched it in their wallet and they're like, oh, I have one of those. Nice. So,
Yo, I
um,
just heard the discussion here and I had to come up because like you struck a chord with me there, Kaleo, when you said like, yeah, there's people they'll be in your comments and they'll be like, cheering you on, you're super bullish, but like the whole time you have a project and they're really not supporting it, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like I'm going through that, but like the fact that like, guys like you went through that as well, that's like kind of inspirational. So I just wanted to come up here and say shout out to the Wonky Stonks community. I'm a new member and I love it.
Welcome, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
I'm gonna hop back down and making supper here, but let somebody else come up and appreciate y'all.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. Thanks for coming up as always. Appreciate it. Um, Oh man, but unfortunately, I do actually probably need to get wrapping up the spaces myself tonight because I'm trying to get back on a better sleeping schedule. I think that it is something that's much more sustainable. It took me, I think, several days of just unwinding some this weekend and relaxing to be able to get back to feeling like kind of centered again. So I am trying to get back to a semi-normal schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Well, I mean, I'll give a shot. If anybody else has anything important they want to bring up or talk about, it don't have to end immediately, but stage is open. If anybody else has any unsaid thoughts, speak now or forever hold
You
your
probably
peace.
just screwed yourself, bro. Bitcoin's about to take off like a madman, and we're all gonna be up way past our bedtimes. Thanks a lot. Love you, brother.
All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming up here. It means a lot as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the wonky stonks are inevitable. Day number 69,420. Name me one other project in this space that is on day number 69,420 of their spaces. I don't think you can name one. So, yeah, if that doesn't speak volumes about this project and where we're heading, I don't know what else does. Until next time, this is Kaleo. I don't know why I said that later.